All right, everybody, welcome to the Tuesday 10X interview. Every Tuesday at 9 o'clock for over 15, maybe 16, 17 years, I have attempted to put on the best sales meeting in the mortgage business. That's the goal. Uh, Anybody who's been following me on LinkedIn knows that I'm very passionate about leadership in sales meetings. And I think if you want to create a great culture where people are achieving their best, you need to have meetings. You need to have at least one hour, 45-minute, whatever, sales meeting every week, same time, same day, and showcase best practices. So today we have Patty Newby as our guest. It's been a few years since I've interviewed Patty. Welcome, Patty. It's good to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's been years since I've interviewed you. Patty is in Dallas, Texas, actually in Frisco, just outside of Dallas. I love her brand that she's built called The Loan Designer. Yeah, check it out in the back. She's got it there. I mean, she's killing it. Her goal this year is 120 million. Her team is actually pushing her to do 140. Last year she did 87 million, and she was up 18 million from the year prior to that. So I don't know a lot of teams, a lot of leaders that had an up year in 2023. So you're in a pretty small crowd. Congratulations on that. And she's averaging about 10 million a month in production. So she's winning. She's thriving. She is in the upper echelon of the 1%. So for the folks who just gave a star or give a heart, I'm going to give Patty a heart. Use those reactions as we go. So Patty, let's start with you just describing a little bit about your approach, your value proposition, how you differentiate in the market, and then we'll get into the big topic at hand.
Yeah. So what I do every year is I write my own business plan, and then I start in like the September to November time, try to wrap that up for the preceding year or for the following year. And then I actually get together with my realtors and my builders, and I present that plan. And this year we called it Spark Your Success. And it was completely focused on marketing strategies for my realtors, listings, which went second, and buyers. And I almost forgot to put a slide in about mortgages. I did slide one in there and spent about 2 or 3 minutes, but we have just been pouring into our realtors all year. You know, I'm of the philosophy, when you give, you receive, and we're just pouring into them to give them tools to grow their business. But also on the listing sides, which we've, traditionally always focused on the buyer side.
Got it. How many realtors do you have that are, referring partners and people that you're pouring into on a regular basis?
Well, not enough. My coach says I need 1,000. And I am probably still in that 300 to 400 mark. But it's interesting, when you stay consistent, then I have realtors that used to be very committed to another lending team, and now all of a sudden the door is open. So
there's 300 to 400 that you're targeting, but how
yeah.
many are like consistently, referring you business?
Consistently, I don't have that number prepared. I don't know, maybe 20 to 30.
Okay, so 20 to 30 regular partners that you're managing. And we titled this, and you came up with the title, Preparing How to Win in August. So, what was the thought on that headline? I mean, I think I know the answer, but I want to hear it from you.
So, a lot of us who were around when Dodd-Frank rolled out in 11, 12, and 14, we were in a panic. And it feels like some of the realtors are in a panic now. They're getting excited about paragraph 12. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys are about to experience what we all experienced. And I thought back, I've been with Thrive Mortgage this whole time, and I thought back on what we did that was brilliant. And one of the things we did is we got prepared and started getting our dialogue in our heads and our paperwork before it was required. And so while we certainly had changes when it was required for Dodd-Frank, we weren't freaking out like a lot of people were, because we're like, okay, we've been already doing this for a while. And I think we need to support our realtors because they've never been through any changes before this dramatic. And so what are we going to do as a community not just me here in Texas, but collectively lending, what are we going to do to support our agents? So I believe one of the keys is getting ready today and not waiting for August.
Got it. And then what have you been doing so far? I mean, it's been, I don't know, I think 5-ish weeks
Yep.
since the news broke and NAR, did the settlement. What have you been doing? What'd you do the week
Yep.
of? What have you been doing to pour into your agents and, support them?
Well, first of all, I studied. I've been on every NAR call I can, learning 10, 15, whatever that number is. I've been listening to other realtors, other leaders in real estate across the US, and figuring out how I'm going to partner with them. Now, I now have my presentation prepared. And so I'm going to be going out into my communities, both of my builders and my realtors, and sharing that information. I also think it was important not to overreact and jump into all the Facebook dialogue. In my little circle, there was a lot of conversation going on. Oh, we can just add paragraph 12. And I'm like, oh, wow, you guys are just missing the boat in a lot of areas. So basically, what I've been doing up to this time is preparing so that I can deliver a solution that hopefully I believe has some meaning and to support my agents.
Love that. And I want to remind everyone, guys, I have been working hard as leader of this mortgage coach community to bring you guys value. Literally I think it was announced on Friday or Thursday, and on Monday we created this playlist called the Getting Ahead of the NAR Settlement playlist. That Monday I interviewed the #1 realtor in America, Jason Mitchell. It's been viewed over 37,000 times now. Went a little viral, but I've been interviewing top producing mortgage coaches. I've been interviewing top realtors. This one with Keri Shull was insane. I mean, she's definitely going to win. She leads an EXP group of about 400 realtors. But make sure you guys check this out. This is a great resource. Patty, this interview that we're doing right now is going to become part of this playlist. And so, if you're a loan officer, make sure you're watching that. Also, make sure that you're sharing some of that with your realtor partners. I mean, I'm creating this content as we prepare for the NAR settlement in a way that it's not only valuable to a mortgage professional, but it's valuable to a realtor. So check that out. Patty, have you had a chance to see any of those interviews
Yep.
that I've done?
I saw one that was the 37,000 views. It was awesome. And I think we're on track on our community. And when I talk about our community, Dave, is I got a call, I think it was Thursday, Friday. Client wanted to buy in the DFW area, and he is selling around the Martha's Vineyard area. And he was saying, he goes, maybe I should wait to buy until fall. Why are you saying that? He said, because my CPA told the client that he could save $45,000 if he waited to list his $1.5 million house for the fall. And I said, respectfully to your CPA, they're flat wrong. And so that sale has nothing to do with me, but we as a community shared some information with the client. I advised him to chat with his realtor to get the facts, and I advised him to introduce the CPA to the realtor so that we can stop that conversation at a CPA level, because I don't want it to slow buyers and sellers down because of myths they see on TV.
Love that. So you're bringing the news to them. By the way, guys, we did put a link to the actual interviews that we called out and a link to the Getting Ahead of the NAR settlement playlist. So scan that. I just can't emphasize enough, if you are a mortgage advisor and you want to win in August, and you need to win today. Just like I'm really big on, like, I want to win by noon every day. Big believer in that philosophy. I have my entire career. But if I'm going to win by noon, I got to win by 7 a.m. And it's just a good benchmark. And if you're going to win in August, you need to be winning right now. So also, folks, remember to put questions in chat, whether you're watching this in Facebook or wherever you're watching. If you're watching the YouTube, which is our biggest audience, put any questions you have. Patty and I will get them answered. And if we don't get them answered, we'll integrate them into the next interview. So Patty, I know you've got some slides to go through, but before you start sharing slides and kind of getting into the details, which, by the way, I've interviewed you enough to know that's part of what makes you so special is you've got great planning, you've got great strategy, and then you really do, you and your team get into the details of execution. But give us a high level, what is the high level
Yep.
game winning plan to win in August?
So we've got to use our TCA. And you know what's cool about our community here? We all know the power of presenting correct and understandable financial solutions. We married that with LMP. It's called Lender Marketing Platform. I have personally been an LMP junkie for the last 4.5 years. And then I think we have to couple it with communication. Communication is going to be the key to articulate buyers, agents, welcome, etc., so that we get the correct message out there and we have successful closings.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And I do really believe there's some very specific tactics and skills that mortgage professionals need. And I'll start unpacking those as we get into the more tactical strategies. So I'll let you, I mean, at this point, share your screen whenever you want to. Like, I'm not saying share it, but as you share your game plan, if you want to share it with slides, let's go.
All right. So I'll go through this a little bit about what we're doing. And so first of all, marketing. How is a realtor and how are we going to help clients market in this time period that we approach? I think storytelling and social media is a good thing to do. I did a video a few weeks ago about how a realtor made about 40 different phone calls because there was a little wood rot near the roof, and she could not get anyone out there in time to have it done so that our client could sell. So we kept the buy side on track too. And so that's what I mean by the storytelling. What are your realtors? How are they saving the day on a daily basis? And are they articulating that on social media? And I'm going to say something that I apologize if I offend anybody here, but I hate the keys at the hand at the closing. My realtor sold my house. My realtor rocks. Well, yeah, they do, but tell me why. So I think we need to help our realtors come up with ideas, and we need to be supporting them, and maybe we do, and we should be doing videos too. Okay, we need to we're going to be providing our agents content on what to share. I'll tell you about that in a moment. And I think we need to have a community effort. It's not just about what's good for me and my team on how we're going to help our buyers in Dallas, but if my competition or ABC Mortgage Company, et cetera, if they're not doing the same thing for their agents, my client may not be able to sell their home because another loan officer's client or agent is not properly informed. Or my client can't buy because maybe the seller of the home they want to purchase is only giving 1% buyer's agent's commission, and now we have a gap. So what are we going to do as a collective in the lending? And then I'm going to be developing a game plan for communication with each one of my realtors. It was interesting. I was talking to one of my realtors a few weeks ago, and she's bouncing some ideas off of her team. Maybe what they do is they offer on a listing, like an option for 5%, 6%, and 7%. Not that they ever expect the seller to choose 7%, because psychologically, there's something if you give a client 3 options, maybe they pick the middle option. So all these ideas could be a little bit different per agent. So we're going to help in marketing.
Hey, real quick, stop sharing your screen real quick, because it looks like you just went through chapter 1, marketing, and I want to fireside chat that real quick with you, because I went to the Housing Wire event a couple weeks ago, and there were 700 executives from mortgage and real estate. We had some of the top real estate folks, and so I got to talk with a whole bunch of leaders of realtors and most elite real estate agents. And when I was asking them, what is the typical agent's value proposition? How are they differentiating, and what are they saying as a value prop? I heard, I'm a local market expert from everybody. I
Yeah.
heard I am great at negotiating from everybody. I heard that I've got this special network of advisors, include, mortgage, title,
Yeah.
that
Roofer. Yeah.
that this. I heard how many years experience they had. I heard, just a lot of stuff. But I kind of was set with one, it's not enough in this
Right.
new reality that they're in. And then what I didn't hear, which to me is one of the biggest things that realtors bring to a family when they help them buy their home, is I help you build wealth with real estate and achieve financial freedom, because
Mhm.
I work with Patty Newby, the loan designer, who does blank, blank, and blank. But I didn't hear that value proposition where they were talking about wealth creation and financial freedom. And so it made me think that, like, Patty and people like you are going to be really well positioned to upgrade the value proposition of realtors. What are your thoughts on that? And how are you
Yeah.
leaning into that from a marketing
So
standpoint?
it's really funny that you mentioned that, but and then they're like, I'm compassionate. Well, so you're compassionate. So all the other realtors are not compassionate. What does that mean? So again, we use LMP to deliver a QR code to our the agents that we're working closely with. And we actually did video shoots at our house for them to help them to be able to articulate. Now, we're only on round one because it takes a while. We had a team here. We were one person was shooting video. I was typing their content into an LMP presentation, and somebody else remotely was using CapCut to blend it together and to make the realtor shine and also be able to articulate that. So that's what we're using for that marketing piece. And then when they're walking down the street, they're meeting someone at coffee or whatever in church, they said, you know what, scan my QR code. Here's a way for us to get started, and I will call you to set an appointment.
So, a couple things before we move on. So, first of all, when she says LMP, that's Lender Marketing Platform,
Thank you.
and we will put a link to that down below. It's something that I think is an incredible resource for not only mortgage advisors, but real estate advisors going forward. In fact, I'm going to be interviewing the founder and CEO, Scott Nicholson, a couple times, because I do believe it is one of those technology platforms that's always been valuable, but its time has really come to where it's huge. And then whenever she says TCA, like if you saw that screen, TCA stands for Total Cost Analysis, and that's Mortgage Coach, which is your advice engine. So and that's the other thing, guys. And tell me if you agree with this. I think realtors not only need to upgrade their value proposition, and wealth creation with real estate there needs to be a story, there needs to be a way to communicate it, but they need to upgrade their tech stack. And both buyer and listing agents need to start using, either lender or not lender, but lender marketing platform or something like that in order to compete with you and others like you. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. And I'll share when I get to the listing back to my presentation, like
Well,
we've been
let's go back to
doing,
it. Like if you're
okay,
ready, I wanted to
yeah,
have a little side conversation around
but the
value.
marketing piece is absolutely critical. So on the listing side, we beta tested this like a year and a half ago. And so for our agents, we put their listing up. They still do everything they're doing, but we can tie in their MLS listing, their photo, our TCA. Sorry, guys, I've been doing it a while. I keep saying TCA,
Hey,
but
you
our,
can call that. That's your acronym. By the way,
okay,
what do you call it for the family? Like when you're giving it to a customer, do you call it a TCA or do you call it like
no.
the
So
Smith
we
family
call
blank?
it a smart home savings plan
Wait,
because
smart
we
homes
home
savings,
savings plan.
smart home savings plan. And then when you deliver, what you're calling the LMP right now, what do you call that to both the listing agent and the buyer's agent? What do you call that?
We call it a smart home savings plan because in our plan is the lender marketing or LMP link. It has text in there where we are on steps, from hello to funding. And then we have the flyers, we have market news, we have our TCA, how to create affordability, all into that tech stack. Now, we're also using that at our 90-day post-closing call, which we're getting a little off subject. We use that same LMP link with our TCA embedded into it and the final CD for refinances. So whether we're helping a client in the future refinance, whether we're helping them get rid of their PMI, this is like their link for life.
Oh, link. So I love that link for life.
And we don't call it a
Yeah.
link for life. It's just and of course, wrapping in design, we call it appreciation by design. That's our little name for it. We appreciate you, and home appreciation, and by design, the loan designer. So
Oh,
that's what we
you
do.
are just, aren't you the marketer? Good with words. I love that.
We try and we modify and pivot where needed.
There you go. That's what winners do.
So we take that listing for everybody participating here or in the future, and we add our TCA because there's two issues right now, right? Client might not be able to get qualified on their debt ratio, or yeah, I can, but I don't want that payment. Do you want a 2-1 buy down? You want a fixed rate that's permanent buy down? How do you feel about this? So we couple that with the listing for all of our presentations for the realtors. So I think as a community, to be prepared for August now, we have to have creative ideas to boost the listing, whether you're using LMP or something. But we have to get creative and support our agents. We have to modify and maybe help them develop their listing presentations. Most of our realtors have fabulous listing presentations, but maybe they need an extra page from us to put into it. Okay. I'm going to talk about inspections here. I think the realtors need to go deeper into the value of the inspection. They need to talk about how much time they save a client and ensure on-time closings. I got into a conversation with a realtor a few weeks ago, and the inspection came back, with 5 or 6 things, and I'm going to make up a number here, like a couple of them needed to be repaired and the other, change a battery or whatever. How does the client who is not properly represented by an agent, how do they know how to negotiate that? And I was just having some fun with the client. Let's say you have a police officer or a teacher, somebody at a corporate job. What, you're not going to have a listing or a buyer's agent represent you, and you're going to leave work and start negotiating and calling around for hot water heaters and roofers? They don't even know who to call. And I'm thinking, okay, let's say you have a client that's willing to do that. Well, if that repair person cannot get out there and satisfy the needs of the mortgage, you going to close on time? Or are you going to start rescheduling your movers and taking your time off? I just think that's where you said earlier, Dave, is a lot of agents will say, I know the local area, I'm experienced, I love my buyers, I treat them like with family. Those standard lines, we got to go deeper and have that proactive conversation with every single listing, but we also need to have it with every single buyer. Okay.
Yeah.
We also need to
wait. Oh, go ahead. Stop sharing that real quick, because
okay.
I wanna make sure something really lands with folks, because I have felt like this even last year, but now is the time to partner with realtors. You notice how she said most listing agents have really great presentations, and maybe we need to be a slide or two in that. So a couple things, guys, that started last year, because over 60% of mortgages start with 2 or 3%. And so the majority of the times when they're going out on listings, those folks have super low rates compared to what's available in the market. And many of those folks want to move up or move down, but they're not going to get a 2, 3, or a 4% mortgage. And so I have always proposed since last year, and tell me if you agree, Patty, that there should be a total cost analysis accompanied every single listing agent, every single listing appointment. And then of course, I'm a massive fan of Lender marketing platform, because not only can you put a total cost analysis in that, you can put a CMA in that, you could put a video from you, it's a place where I call it an OmniLink. I actually told Scott he should make the name of the company something like that, OmniLink, because it's like, it's one link. It's got Mortgage Coach, it's got a YouTube video, it's got a PDF all in one place. But at the end of the day, do you agree, Patty, that as you're going out and you're helping realtors win, whether they're buyer's agents or a listing agent, you're like, here's how I can help you win more listings, and here's how I can help you win more buyers going forward in the market. You agree, and there's a total cost analysis,
Well, let
a
me show you
mortgage
what we're doing.
coach, a company's. So you agree with all that?
Oh yeah, but I'll share something. You ready for me to share my screen again?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what we do. Okay. So again, this is
Now we're
using
talking.
a LMP. Sorry guys, I keep abbreviating there. LMP platform for CMA. So one, I created a template. Actually, my team did it. We created some pretty artwork. And then this was one of our recording days. So my team created a thumbnail using Canva. You can use the free version, or we use the $10 version, whatever it is. And this is a message from the realtor. Now, once they do a CMA, some realtors want to stick the CMA in this link to send to the client to do a Zoom presentation. Some are like, hey, here's some preliminary information. I will deliver the CMA to you. But we've talked about what happens if they get a lowball offer. And this is our TCA behind the scenes. This is the old one. Okay. All right. This is the old one. Now I figure I can't stop that. Okay. Then 5 reasons to buy now. Okay. And what we do is we customize this video this text here for the client. So when my agent has a CMA time, the Brown family, the Smith family, whatever, we're saying, hi, David and Sandy Brown, right? And, we look forward to seeing you or whatever. Here's some preliminary information to start the process. And by the way, this has a QR code with it. So for generally, if my agent is walking around and someone says, I'm thinking about buying or selling my house, even if we're not on the buy side, what are we doing to serve our community? So we started that last year, and my agents are wonderful. They use YouTube, they do video, but we found it more advantageous to just do the video for them and do the thumbnails for them so that we can move faster as well.
And real quick, would you mind sharing a link to that or one of them in chat for folks? Because a number of people have asked for that. Guys, by the way, we're almost at halftime. What do you think so far? I think Patty is killing it. I'm giving her a heart. Let Patty know what you think of the call so far. Also, when you do the mortgage coach for the listing, what are some of the common types of mortgage coaches that you're doing? Are you doing any kind of like move up? Like, hey, this is what you got. This is what you're moving
for
up
the
to.
listings, we're all about, sorry, Dave.
Oh, you tell me. I'm sorry.
So it depends when the agent brings us in. We have some scripts that we've created, and we're thinking, hey, are you about to discount the house? Don't do that. Give us that $10,000 to buy the rate down. Or, because the agent wants to get to a certain price point on MLS, we asked them if we could bump it up and the house would appraise. So we're getting that information, and listing by listing, we are putting the mortgage coach together based on what they tell us for that particular house. And sometimes I'm calling them and I'm like, hey, you got 10 grand in the deal. We need 15, maybe it's an $800,000 house or whatever. And so we're showing 3 or 4 options. And in the very last column, we put something to the effect of made up example, like don't quote me on this, possible refinance, potential refi rate. And we're we're quoting that low fives for the majority of the time in the future, but we're being clear on there so that, yeah, their house payment might be $200 more today, but if we refinance in the future, if rates drop, right? 'Cause that way we don't get locked in on our TCA there. This is what that house payment could look like.
Yeah, so date, the rate, marry the house in the last column so that the move-up
Yep.
buyer understands where their land. And then I also highly recommend that you do the net worth calculation because they're
Yeah.
buying a more expensive house and they'll be able to see what their net worth looks like in the new house 5 years, 10 years
Yeah.
from now. So if you put in the future refi with the net worth calculation, you're really going to help, one, the consumer have clarity, and two, you're going to help the realtor get the listing and get the move up. So cool. All right. Well, I want to make sure we have plenty of time. We still got another 29 minutes to get through everything that you prepared to give us.
On the listing agent, this is one of my agents that gave me this idea. We always like to say, Kimberly Richard, where credit's due, is buyer's agents welcome. So we will be doing with our listings, we will be advertising for them, buyer's agents welcome. And I've yet to just talk to my agents. Does one want to put 3%? Because technically you could put 3% on there. You could put buyer's agents welcome. I also have my agents put in the MLS notes approved for special financing. And I had one agent go, hey, what does that mean? I'm like, I don't really care what it means. Have a buyer's agent pick up the phone to call the listing agent, and you can mark it up. You can have some incentives in paragraph 12, whatever you want. What does it take to get that home sold? So I think when we pour into our agents, we all win. And I think on the TCA, we're going to have to start showing commission gaps. So what I see in the future is a client wants to look at a home, and the buyer's agent's going to have to pick up the phone and call 10 houses. Hey, I have a buyer that wants to see your house. How much are you paying in commission? I don't know if that's a legal conversation, but that's what I would envision happening. And she's saying, okay, this one's only paying 2%. Well, if the buyer has, the BAC is for 3%, who's going to pay the other 1%? Because we as lenders have to understand and communicate with the client up front before they even go looking out at a house. Hey, you want to go look at that house? That's cool. But understand there could be a 1% commission gap, which means you're going to have your down payment, your closing cost, and maybe a 1% commission gap. But that we have to be able to articulate that somehow in the body of an email or whatever we're using to the agent so that the buyer's agent knows not to show them those homes if they can't afford it. So we're not used to doing that. We need to do that. And I know I leaped over into the buyer section, but we need to be doing that with our TCAs, what I call the BAC gap.
So good. Would you mind post this call? And if you could grab it during the call and share an example of one of your mortgage coaches with your BAC gap, just so this is
But
a
we
full
haven't
lesson.
done that yet because I haven't rolled it out to the team. That'll start next week when I get back from a couple-day vacation. So I
Okay.
haven't done
Okay.
that
So
yet.
stay tuned, guys, and maybe let me know if you want me to
I'll do
maybe do
it.
another like a
I'll try and
15-minute
do one
interview with
before I
what's
leave.
that?
I'll do one before I leave. That's my commitment to you.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Who loves that? I know the community is digging that. So cool.
Okay. Now,
All right.
buyers. I think a lot of agents may not have an in-depth buyer consultation appointment or presentation either. I think together we can help them develop that. We will be putting that into a lender launchpad presentation with their video on buyers and some products that we had. But I think we need to get buyers agents presentation honed in and add some mortgage ideas. Again, we need to be communicating at the pre-qual level. I think that we need to get pre-qualled ahead of time. I still have a few agents that are like, hey, I showed them one house. Of course, they fell in love with it. And it's, 6 o'clock on a Wednesday, and they need to put an offer in that night. we've got to be more prepared. So I tell my agents, if you know a client that's buying in the next 6 to 12 months, please allow us to start prepping them now. And then again, I think the agents need to do research on every home before they view, so they set up themselves up and the client up for a successful offer. And then we talked about the TAC gap, or the VAC gap there on the TCA. And then I think agents need to be able to articulate, hey, this is what I do before you go buy, during, and after. Some of our agents are really great about putting programs and tools and tech into place afterwards to get referrals from that agent. We're helping them with that also. And some of them may not follow up as good as we all should probably be following up after the closing. So I think those are all areas that we can help. On the next slide, I was in starting to do some of my research just so that I could be of value. I'm like, why do buyers and sellers get so riled up about paying realtors? Number one, I think it's because we don't articulate the value, what they really do, right? But I was looking at this, and I've put the link on here, but we pay for all sorts of commission in everything we do. But would any of us give up our drug sales, right? We need drugs, we need financial advice. I mean, I even went on to a company that we all buy online, starting with an A, a lot. And there are certain positions at that company that are also commissioned, but yet we still buy from them, because if we're getting something shipped over to our house or overnight, they've articulated the value and we choose to buy from there. So that's why I just thought this was a real interesting fact. I'm going to be presenting this to my agents, but I'm like, commission's paid everywhere. But again, it's the value that we have to articulate.
And is this average commission annually by industry?
Well, I just pulled it up from this Zappia.com advice. I started Googling, what do consumers pay commission for? And this is what came up. Now, this is their average commission, but again, it's to start to train our thought process in real estate is one of the biggest financial commitments that anyone ever has, I believe, unless you're buying a company. So why are we not okay with paying some of that commission? Why do FSBOs still exist? And there is data out on the success of FSBOs. There's a lot of stuff on NAR you can start gathering and coming up with ideas to share with me and others too. But this is where I started. And then the last thing I really wanted to wrap up is I Googled this. What do agents do? There is 197 things agents do. It's a PDF. You can download it from NAR. I thought that was really interesting, and that would be some good content to share with your agents on what they should be marketing, maybe doing videos. Stop holding up the thing that just sold. I know you just sold, but what magic did you happen to do to make that valuable? And I also looked up the most common complaints against realtors. And I don't know if you can see this. I'm just going to blow this up a little bit. But these are the most common complaints that particularly lead to a realtor complaint for them. And does anybody have water rights experience, solar experience? We need our realtors, but we need communication, I think, is going to be the key. And that is off of this website from an insurance company. We forget, at least I do, that agents have to carry E&O insurance, because just like mortgages, even though they do a great job and articulate everything and it's laid out in their contracts, consumers don't know. They only buy a home once every 5 to 10 years. So what are we going to do to communicate that message for success? So that's all I had.
Well, that was incredible. Thank you so much. Go ahead. You stop sharing your screen. I want to push folks to, put in questions that you have for Patty. I've got questions. I also have a little lesson that I want to go through with Patty. I'm actually going to be doing this again at noon today with Sean Herrero, because there's something that I think every loan officer in America needs to master if they want to win in August and if they want to win today. Before I do that, Um, Patty, anything else you want to make sure gets said or shared, before we just start going freestyle and I share a
Nope,
few things?
that's it.
Got it. And then Nick, oh, by the way, do you have any samples of mortgage coaches or a lender marketing, um, marketing platform for a buyer agent? Do you have any of that? I know Nick just asked, and before I get into, call it the mortgage coach lessons, I want to make sure Nick gets his question answered.
Yep. So I just put my main LMP site in there, and I'm going to put you can see my listing sites. I have about 600 presentations. Most of them are private, but you can go in there and look at one site. It's called Boogie Woogie Avenue. It's just a completely made up site on there, and it has TCAs embedded into all those.
Okay, so let me
That's the
go
link
to
I
that
just
real
sent.
quick because I've got a few things I want to share. So I'm going to share my desktop, and I think this is what you gave a link to. And by the way, we shared this in a link. In each one of these is an example, where she said, "Hey, I've done hundreds of these, but most of them are private. These are public." And are you saying all of these have TCAs, or some of them do?
No, put on a property find, put Boogie Woogie.
Oh, wait, where do I put that? Oh,
Down
right
here,
here.
and yep, in the search, put just Boogie, and that should
Boog.
bring up a made up. I think it's IE.
Yep, spelling's not
If
my
not, I
thing.
can share my screen again.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't
if
know
it
if
doesn't,
it'll just hit enter, see if it pops up.
I thought I did. Hang on. Yeah, it's not
Here, let
popping up.
me.
You want to
Yep,
share
let
your
me get the
screen?
actual list. Yeah, just a quick second for me. Sorry, guys, for the moment here.
That's okay. That's what we're doing here. We're workshopping some stuff now, and some of the best value comes from workshops like this.
Okay, here we go. Oh, that's called sample Boogie Woogie
Oh, well,
Avenue.
there you go. That would.
So this is how it lays out. And I often cut and paste this. My team does. But look, they're going to offer $15,000 in concessions. Okay. And this is just made up. It's my marketing people having fun here. This is one of my marketing managers, and she is doing a video pretending to be the agent. And oh, we did a Matterport, and that got deleted. The agent deleted it since then. This is my agent saying, hey, this is my preferred lender. Check out down below. This is me doing a TCA on approved for special financing. Doesn't that look beautiful? Hang on. Okay. And this is refinance later. Okay. List price, seller financing. And I don't get too caught up in closing cost here. What we're really trying to do is show the client the monthly savings for being creative, because, I've got some disclaimers in here, but we don't know what the client's credit score is. We don't know how much they're putting down, but we're, keeping it compliant here. And then let's go back to Boogie Woogie Avenue if we can. And I will tell you what is coming in this is hold tight, is latitude and longitude. Scott is building that out soon. And then we did a bid over ask. Okay. And of course it links to our experience reviews. So that is a sample. And here's the cool thing. When you're doing your normal TCAs for your client and you lump this in here, we're also now marketing our agents to other folks. Now, no one's stealing anybody's agents or anything like that, but there's enough business to go around. But we're helping our realtors promote their site. I will tell you, when I first did this with LMP, we only had 8 views for a listing. I was like, ah, shucks, 8 views. But we went in and we marked it sold, the home sold. We had 88 views. So now we're helping our realtors get more public exposure, because we're not locked into whatever they need to do with NAR and everything else. We're just going in and making that house sold.
Yeah. So, Kaylin just commented how beautiful they are. And I mean, that is one of the beautiful things, one of the many beautiful things of the lender marketing platform is that it allows you to integrate a number of different digital technology experiences and allows you to make them beautiful. So here's where I want to go. We've got 15 minutes left. And in order to do what Patty's doing, you need to be a great leader, and you need to be able to win with math. And there are some just little micro lessons. There's 5 of them that, first of all, I believe that everyone at the age of 21 should know these 5 lessons. It's one of the reasons why I founded um, the First Home IQ with Kristen Messerly. Is we have a financial literacy crisis in America. And by the way, it's not just our youth. Most realtors aren't financially literate. I believe that 50% of mortgage professionals, they may know how to do mortgage math, but they don't really know how to help people achieve financial freedom. And I've come up with the help of a number of the top producers in the country, and I can assure you that Patty is going to be a master at these 5 things. But there's 5 things that you should be doing in every transaction that you serve. And if you do these 5 things, that's called the 5 essentials to smart money decisions, you're going to win in August. So number 1, you've got to give options. And did you hear Patty? One of those options should be, hey, I'm going to help you refinance on a move up so they can have context and see what their payment's going to look like. You've got to show these things over time, because if you don't show things over 5 years, 10 years, people are just making transactional decisions, and that's not going to serve them over the course of their lifetime. Everyone needs to understand the power of real estate appreciation and the power with mortgage leverage. Like this is the most valuable way people achieve financial freedom. People build wealth in America is they're able to get into a mortgage, sometimes with no money down, 10% down, 20% down. And if it's appreciating at 3%, 5%, we all know that things have been appreciating even more than that. This is how people build wealth in America. Every time a listing agent goes out, they should have options over time and showing the power of leveraged real estate appreciation. The most powerful force in finances is compound interest. They should know how compound interest works. And they should also know that, hey, if you prepay your mortgage, look at how much faster you can pay off your mortgage by just making an extra $100 a month in payments. And guys, that is the magic of a MortgageCoach TCA, is that one sheet, whether it's on a mobile device or whether it's on a computer, is delivering all of these financial principles. Now, this one right here, you don't necessarily show both of these to every customer. And Patty, I'm going to ask you questions in a minute. This is an example of a mortgage professional that was helping a family who was renting. Should I, keep renting or should I own? And he put out a couple different options. A couple of those had a seller paid buy down strategy. But he taught first 2 strategies, options over time. And then he showed the power, like if you click on view details, it's literally showing, based off of rental increase, based off of property appreciation, what's the net worth going to be, and then because this was a first-time home buyer and they were going to rent out 2 of the bedrooms, all in one TCA, he was able to show the power of, hey, what if you reinvested some of that you're renting out each room for $600, that's $1,200 a month. What if you invest that with your planner at 6%? What would that be? And here we go, all in one place. 4 of the 5 essential lessons were delivered. So Patty, first of all, what are your thoughts that every mortgage professional by August and really by the end of the month should be able to deliver all 5 of those little micro financial planning lessons to every consumer they serve?
I think if they're waiting until the end of May, you're waiting, like, what is that, 21 days too late. I personally would never know. I don't even know how to deliver communication with a rate sheet. We haven't done that for like, I don't know, 8 years. But I would don't embrace LMP now. If you're all not doing TCAs today, just run to the nearest place to sign up, and you must do that. I'll show you a TCA in a minute, but clients get all worked up about rate. The market's going to set the rate. I want to know how we're going to save them money, right? And that's what you can articulate with your TCA. But you've got to be doing that. And part of our first call conversation is, hey, so that I design the mortgage for you correctly, how do you feel about the market? And we go into what the market stats are, what people are saying, what we believe, and try to find out if the client is going to be kept awake every night because they did a 2-1 buy down. Well, then don't do that. Or what their feelings are, so you can put the right thing together. And the only way you can articulate that properly is to do a TCA. And then you modify that break-even analysis on the long-term net worth or the interest paid, however you want to show it, over the number of years they want to see it. And we're old-fashioned. We still do our presentations live on a Zoom call. It might only last 15 or 20 minutes, but it avoids future questions. And I think gives clients peace of mind. Because here's the other thing, Dave. I love the creating the tab 3 over there. But what most of America doesn't get is they'll go buy a watch or a sweater or a meal or trip, and they'll put it on a credit card at 30%. But now you're having a concern because your house payment's $50 more. Are you kidding me? And you can't say it like that to the client. That's why the TCA takes the emotion out and puts the facts there, the financial facts, so that the client can make a good decision.
Love that. And by the way, if you could get ready to show a total cost analysis, guys, this is a training page. If you go to trustengine.com/10x, where out of the hundreds of interviews that I do every year, I put like, hey, what are 6 that if you really need to get trained on how to be a mortgage coach, watch these. If you want to win with realtors, watch these. Right? I'm going to need to upgrade this pretty soon. If you just need to improve, not getting shopped and winning with shoppers, watch these. And if you're a manager and you want to train and teach and turn your loan officers into mortgage coaches at scale, watch this one. And then as you scroll down, there's a video for everything, how to learn to be a mortgage coach. And then there's live training every single day of the week. You only got to do this once, but if you are just learning to use it live every Monday, you got to sign up for it. Today, you're watching the 10X Tuesday, sign up here. Every Wednesday, we're teaching strategies. And every Thursday, we're just doing group coaching. And then, of course, every Friday is we're doing masterminds. So guys, there's one page. And if you're not a mortgage coach and the company you work for doesn't have an enterprise partnership, you can sign up right here. You can be using Mortgage Coach, $150 a month. Just click on that link and you're good to go. So, Patty, do you want to show a sample of one of your TCAs?
And I want to comment on something that you just said. Out of people, when we're learning things new, there's a very low number, like 10% will actually execute. This is one thing you should execute on today. And Dave's not paying me to say this. I just have proof that it works for the last 7 to 10 years, whatever. But that's the key. And I would have to guess that still a large majority of lenders, mortgage advisors are not using this, but this is the way for you and I to stand out. And I think this is the best time. This is our time to grow. When it gets tough out there, the passionate, strong mortgage advisor leaders will grow and our business will explode, but you got to have the right tech and tools to do it. And this is one where you should start. All right.
Love it. Love it, Patty. Thank you.
Well, it's from the heart, right? Okay, so this is one of ours to our client, and I just randomly pulled up one without any preparation here. So this client, as you can see, was under a 660 credit score. And so we ran a rapid rescore like we all do, and we showed him how to save some money. And then if rates drop, we titled it that. And sometimes we're so bold to say made up rate so that clients don't hold us to that rate. There's all sorts of disclaimers in here, but this particular client, they believed they were going to refinance in 2 years. Let's look at the difference here on just the current score. Well, we can't do that. So we normally have one other column there where we're comparing, but I will share with you in almost every case, I have done so many TCAs up and down to 800,000 and below. It's always better to bump up the sales price if the house will appraise and buy more points. If the client, it's always cheaper to do that. You've got to figure out where the break even is on how many points you want to spend, because there is that break even. Let's say the cash to close is $1,000 more because of points, and your interest saved, if we refinance in a year, is not much, which this tells us, I'm sorry, this is not a good demo. The point is, maybe it's okay if the client spends more money in points, one, to give them peace of mind, two, in case rates don't drop, or three, to get them qualified. But that's the cool thing about the Mortgage Coach. And I do love the new colors, by the way. It's nice and fresh, but this takes the emotion out of it. Oh, you want to save $239 a month? Then let's get your score up. And what we do when we go through this, we absolutely highlight things to have the client focus on what we want to focus on. We don't focus on rate. I don't want a client calling us on a Monday, and by the time they find a house on a Wednesday, the market's moved through no fault of our own. So we focus on the payment, the cash to close, and the overall savings. That's our team's strategy, which we have been successful at for the last many, many years using our TCA.
Beautiful. So our main sponsor is Trust Engine. So I'm going to close with a little 1-minute commercial showing our newest innovation. And thank you for the nice comment on the new look and feel of the total cost analysis. But we launched a new app to all of our customers that have our Borrow Intelligence platform. So now we're not only monitoring database for who looks most likely to be a debt consol, but purchase signals, who's most likely to move up, move down. And, as a loan officer, you would just log into this app, you can sort it by date. And when you click into this app, it will give you some, always has where to email, where to text, where to call, some kind of next steps, a link to subscripts, a link to a TCA. By the time this hits your app as a loan officer, we've already digitally engaged with the consumer. So you'll know that. Because it's Trust Engine, you'll know credit data, you'll know loan information data, you'll know opportunities, you'll know exactly why we think this is an opportunity, like a great reason for you to call. And then, of course, a lot of reasons why people don't call is they don't know what to say, exactly what to say if you call, exactly what to say if you text. It's as simple as copy script and hit the link, cut and paste, and bam, all the best reasons to call in your mobile phone. And one of our goals here is that when you're meeting with realtors, one, you're showing them how your advice makes a difference. And two, you're showing them how their database would be more valuable in your database. So every single person, by the way, what are your first impressions of that new app, Patty?
I love it. I'm like, what's the name of that app again? Can you put it? I'm like, why didn't I know about that, about the purchase?
Well, it's
thing?
the Trust Engine app, and hopefully one of these days we'll get that rolled out for you guys. We've only got 14 lenders in America that are in the process of rolling that out, and that is the new Trust Engine platform. So guys, check it out. Also, my closing thought is, if you have not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, do that today. If you are not following savageinsights.com, do that today. Every single day, Paul and I update this, like what's the next webinar? It's this Beyond NAR settlement. What's the number one thing to watch? This was how to subscribe to today. And then always, if you want to get texts from me about 2 to 3 times a week, where I am sending you what I think is the best content that we're creating that's going to turn you into a mortgage coach. It's going to turn you into a data-driven mortgage advisor. Get in our text group. Just text 949-799-0837, and we'll be there for you. So Patty, you were incredible. If everybody could give Patty, a little reaction, you're getting a heart from me in the channel. Thank you for, the service you do in your local community. One of these days would love to have you as a First Home IQ ambassador. So check that out if you haven't already checked it out. And guys, this is a wrap. Any last words you want to share before we close out today's call, Patty?
No, let's be better together and go get them and have an awesome rest of 2024.
Let's go. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.